Hello again. I was exchanging comments with somebody on another YouTube channel, and the person to whom I was talking claimed that Enoch Powell went to Barbados to recruit nurses. He didn't, of course, but when I pointed this out, there was ill feeling. When people grow angry or abusive under such circumstances, when asked a simple question such as, "Why do you believe this to be so?" I am usually able to guess that the views they hold and the facts which they suppose they possess are actually articles of faith rather than anything in the nature of objective knowledge. If somebody says that Yuri Gagarin orbited the Earth in 1961 and I ask why they think this, then of course there are many sources which they could cite, newspaper headlines, photographs, books and so on. There'd be no need to become upset and defensive at such a question. On the other hand, if I were to ask a Catholic about the nature of transubstantiation, the turning of the host into the actual real body of Christ, then this might well provoke anger or hostility. This is because I'm talking to somebody about a matter of faith rather than knowledge. So it is with racism and the history of immigration. Many of the things which are claimed by those in favour of immigration are false, but those holding the views are nevertheless prepared to defend them to the death. Mind you, one sees something similar in many people who are racially prejudiced as well. It's not all on one side. Returning now to the idea that Enoch Powell went to the Caribbean to recruit nurses. The main reason that this story has been invented is that it would be so very ironic if the man who made the so-called Rivers of Blood speech in 1968 had actually been in the Caribbean a few years earlier, encouraging immigrants to come to the country. It is such a delicious idea. Sometimes a specific place is mentioned, for example, Barbados. In fact, if such a visit had been made, then it would have been in the newspapers of the West Indies and perhaps even the British newspapers or on the Pathé News. There is no record of any such visit. This is a bit like the Mandela effect, for there are people who claim actually to have seen Powell in the West Indies, even though he didn't go there. In the description to this video, I give a link to an exchange on the Black and Asian Studies website where a black person was trying to track down any evidence of such an event. He came up with a blank because, of course, it didn't happen. By the way, this is a completely separate question about whether or not, as Minister of Health, Enoch Powell was involved in recruiting nurses from that part of the world. I shall deal with that matter in a separate video. But for now, I just wanted to clear up this common misconception, I should more properly say.